That is just a touch of Machine Gun Preacher right there, which is a movie coming out in the next couple of weeks. Gerard Butler, the international film icon of the 21st century, has stepped into the studio. And
the American media just says that about anybody who wasn't born here.
That's true.
Because we're not sure all the time.
Anybody with a cool accent.
He's Scottish, but so we just become an international sensation.
It's true.
Yeah, I'm not really Scottish. I just knew I would get that title if I put on this accent.
Well, you grew up in Canada, though, didn't you?
No, but I lived there for 2 years when I was a baby in Montreal. From when I was 6 months old till I was 2.5.
Oh, so does that? You have no recollection of that, or of the Alouettes, or any of that sort of stuff?
Not so much. No.
They're very thick, weird beer. All right, so let's talk a little bit about Machine Gun Preacher. This is a really fascinating story. It's a true story, right?
That's right. Yeah.
And this is a guy who. Tell us a little bit about the background of the actual guy that you're playing here.
So his name is Sam Childers. He was kind of a violent, bit of a badass, basically. He was a drug addict. Gang member, in and out of jail, a robber, who then kind of got to the end of his tether, really, and his family had converted to Christianity, and it got him too. Basically, he completely transformed and became a man of faith and got his life together. Started a business, but still was kind of haunted, felt I need to do something else. So went down to try out some missionary work in Africa and ended up changed his whole life. He was so outraged by what he witnessed in the civil war that
in the Sudan.
In Sudan, yeah. Did I say Sudan?
Yeah. No,
okay.
In Africa, but Sudan. That's right. Because people are, that's one of those parts of the world that it's just tragedy upon tragedy upon tragedy, and I think a lot of the West's eyes just divert from it because of everything that's going on. But then you've got these missions that of which this guy was a member, that go in and want to do something, and then he ended up using his bad guy skills, right?
Basically, that's a good way to put it. He went down there and built an orphanage and funded it by building a church back up in Pennsylvania. But that orphanage was attacked, and he decided to kind of take it upon himself to. In a way, he formed his own private army, who were like a kind of mini special forces. They go out on these undercover missions and re-kidnap the kids that had been kidnapped by this kind of renegade militia.
Wow.
Yeah, people should understand, too, when we're talking about this movie, because Machine Gun Preacher, it is one of those titles that pretty much tells you what it is. But one of the things, Mark Forster, who directed this, and Jason Keller, who wrote the screenplay, they did a great job of, we get a lot of the bad guy stuff first. Gerard is Jerry's playing this guy who is a badass, and it's not one of these sort of Hallmark movies, oh, he's just a little bit bad. He's really bad. And when he's born again, he doesn't necessarily leave behind that passion and that belief that sometimes the only way to fight violence is with more violence, and to hit them first before they're going to come and hit you.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. I like the way you guys put things, but he transformed in terms of believing he was backed by God, but he still had a lot of that violence and a lot of that, roughness about him. I mean, there aren't many guys around like that.
Yeah, and I think the film, without giving away too much, because people should go on Sam's journey and really experience this. And by the way, I think every movie's better with Michelle Monaghan in it. I mean, she should just be
I happen to agree.
Who plays Jerry's wife, and she's just a wonderful actress, and she's got her own thing. And they also do a really good job of kind of going back and forth and showing as your character becomes more and more devoted to these children and really obsessed with their cause, the damage that's done to his own family, and it doesn't shy away from that. This is not a saint. This is not one of those, the great white savior comes in and everything's all better again. And even in the Sudan, there's some questions about his methods among his closest allies.
Yeah. No, I mean, Sam has the ability to be quite an obnoxious character, and I think along this journey, much as he was saving a lot of lives, he was very insensitive to the plight of his own family. Their finances, their need for a father and a husband, and as you say, I mean, his journey in Sudan itself has been very controversial but effective.
Now, was he there for the shooting of this film?
He came and visited a couple of times, but he wasn't there for the whole film.
Did you do the thing that a lot of actors do? You spend a lot of time with him before the role?
Yeah. He I went up to Johnstown where he lived and spent time with him there, where he showed me, you know, where he grew up, where this happened, where this fight happened, where this robbery happened. He came to LA. I hung out with him in LA, and Detroit. He came to Detroit. Actually, I guess before the film started, we spent a few days together in Detroit. And then he came during shooting. You know, he'd pop in and out.
And where were you shooting this? Because it takes place. A lot of it takes place in the Sudan. So where were those things shot? Can you say?
Yeah, well, they were shot in. I can say. I can't tell you.
He had a look.
It's a secret.
And a lot of people don't realize Gerard Butler is also an attorney. He's a trained attorney. So you had that look like I was in a deposition for a moment. Like I really am not going to tell you this right now. I know what you're looking for.
It's all green screen. Don't worry about
it. You'll have to find that out on your own.
It's interesting you say that, but I got to say, I was actually standing at a bar a few weeks ago, and I was thinking about something completely different. But I happened to be looking at this guy across the bar, and he went, "Yo, what? What did I do? What are you looking at me like that for?" Jesus. He goes, "Let me take a drink of my beer." Oh, my God. And I guess I was giving an incredibly intense stare. And I went, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't even..."
I confess, all right? I can't live with the guilt anymore.
Gerard, you are a Spartan king. You're going to look at people like that. That's the kind of crap that happens with you. So did you shoot that in Sudan?
No, we shot it in South Africa.
South Africa, okay.
A little dangerous to be shooting in Sudan. And we shot about an hour outside Johannesburg. Actually in the cradle of life, where they say life began. So we were shooting it around there. It was a great place to hang out.
Yeah, because there's some very stark things in this film, right? I mean, it's not for the faint of heart, and I guess that goes to this choosing a role like this, because I mean, you know, you've done action films, you've done romantic comedies, you've got a real wide sort of resume.
For his art, Jerry actually had a sacrifice for his art. He had to do movies with Hilary Swank and then Katherine Heigl and then Jennifer Aniston. And
Jennifer Aniston's tough duty.
That is an actor really surrendering himself to his craft. We appreciate that.
Full of sacrifice.
You do it for the art. But I guess when you see a script like this has got all kinds of, you know, as an actor, right? Because you're playing this sort of good evil guy at the same time. It's a great script. It's a great sort of international story. It's got Oscar written all over it. Do you think about that sort of thing when you decide on it?
Well, listen, I can't say I've ever read a script and thought, this has got Oscar written all over it. Not me. You know, I'd say I'm used to doing film. You talk about those people, it's like, you know, Academy Award winner Jamie Foxx and Gerard Butler. Academy Award winner Hilary Swank and Gerard Butler. So no, I definitely don't look at a film and think, okay, this has got Oscar written all over it. But I do look at a script and think, this is an incredible story and an incredible man, and a very challenging role. And, you know, really what he goes through, you can't experience more emotions and go to every place possible, you know, emotionally, physically, than this man did in a movie, you know, without it becoming ridiculous.
Over the top. Unbelievable.
And yet, that's what's crazy about it, is it's a true story, you know, and look where it took him. I mean, that's so I thought, I got to get involved in this, because I was so touched and, you know, really profoundly moved, and kind of distraught in a way by the story, that I thought, it's, you know, what a cool thing to be able to pass that on and have, if people react in any way, even 1/10 as much as I did to the script, then, you know, that's a great feeling to think that you can make people feel like that.
And there is that pressure, or at least that responsibility you feel to this story, because even though this is an ongoing thing and Sam continues to do this great work, you know, most of the world, you know, it's something they see on the TV and they go, geez, it's always going to be a mess over there. So this is, you know, a chance to kind of bring it into the mainstream and have you talking about it. I know you're doing this, you know, this extensive tour to talk about it. So there's that kind of added responsibility to talk about this and talk about the issue while remaining and reminding people that this is also a mainstream movie that they want to see.
Yeah.
That it doesn't have to be like a homework assignment.
No, absolutely. I mean, it is nice to shine a light on that, but, you know, ultimately I'm an actor. I made a movie. I love the fact that I can bring this to the forefront, but, you know, like you say, it's not now my life's work to you know, be traveling around the world and, you know, kind of going on about this issue. But I think that what the film does, just in existing is bring these issues.
It's a
to
good
light.
document about what's actually going on over there, and it brings it to Western eyes that have not been, in most cases, kind of looking away from it because it seems intractable, right?
Absolutely, and to do it in a dramatic way, because you can read articles about it every now and again, and it's just facts and figures. 700 people were massacred here, but when you suddenly are a witness to that through a Westerner's eyes, and to experience, to realize what it's like to see just one dead child, never mind hundreds, and to see really effectively what that what that is like to experience, and to have that as your environment, then suddenly it becomes a reality.
Is that a battle, too, during either the screenwriting process? Because you're a producer on this film as well, so you're involved as more than just a hired actor coming out there. Is there a little bit of a debate or a battle about how much of the suffering do we show? How much of the message do we get out there at the expense of, there's also some terrifically, and they are, entertaining action scenes, even though they got a lot of weight behind them. We're talking about car chases, we're talking about gun battles. Is it, do you try to find the balance between the two?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, things down there are actually so much worse than we portray, because otherwise you just have been, people say it's a hard movie to watch in some ways, because you got to be brave, you got to sit with that and see certain things, because that's what's happening down there. We could have shown a whole lot more. Sam has had so many more experiences, in terms of the atrocities that he's witnessed. But you don't want to sit in that too much, because it's also, as you said, or as we said, it's about his family. It's about those private moments with him, and it's also an inspiring story as well. I mean, you do come out of this movie feeling really kind of pumped up. And as you say, I hate to almost lumber in with the same, whilst I'm talking about the tragedy down there, but there is a sense of adventure and excitement to Sam's life, and that's, I think, another reason why he does what he does. So there's a lot of excitement in the film. Right. He goes down, he enjoys, I think, brandishing his gun and getting in amongst it and fighting militia.
Absolutely, and that's the audiences want to see that, and that's the thing. I've been stressing to folks, because seeing 250 movies or whatever I do every year, and people sometimes when they hear something about this, like, oh, well, is this going to be a message movie? Am I going to feel like
how much work do I have to do here?
And I'm like, trust me, you can be elevated and inspired by something, even with a heavy message, and feel good about the experience, compared to seeing some crappy comedy where you walk out and you're depressed because you feel like you've seen it 100 times before, or just another formulaic action film. Why not have something that's got both?
Yeah. Well,
sometimes I walk out of this crappy comedy.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
It's okay.
I need to get a recording of this show. I'm going to quote you.
He's always on a soapbox about that stuff. He gets more depressed by romantic comedy than he does by anything else.
And it's also just with audiences, and it's like, because I talked to people about movies every waking moment, pretty much, and I just sometimes want to shake people and say, don't be afraid. Get out of your comfort zone. Go see this. Trust me.
It's 2 hours. It's 2 hours, and like Tom Hanks. You see, Tom Hanks gave money back, gave $15 back to this. $20, I guess, to this family that had gone and seen his last movie with Julia Roberts that they didn't like and stuff like that. It's not even like that. You go, you have a night out, but this is important because it's a great story, but it's also it takes you to a place, you learn something that I think a lot of people aren't familiar with what's going on. That's the best way to do that. Yeah. All right, why did you decide not to be a lawyer? I'm going to be like your mother now. Why did you know? What was it? You didn't want the regular job of being a lawyer, you decided to be an international film sensation?
No, I think that was more, that existed deeply in my subconscious, that I didn't want to be a lawyer, because I would love to tell you that I gracefully stepped back and said, I don't want to do this, I want to be an actor. But in actual fact, I had 1 week to go after my 7 years of studying and training in a law firm as a lawyer, and I was fired. So it's not quite as glamorous. They made the decision for me and kind of, said,
what could possibly have happened when you're at the finish line to get fired?
I got to tell.
Did you send them the 300 poster? You should send them to have it all over the law offices right there.
Firing me, barrister.
Yeah, I'm the king. I'm Spartan.
Quid pro quo. No, you know what? It was there was almost like a kind of perfect symmetry to this whole thing, you know, and a kind of beautiful serendipity. They said, listen,
the law's not for you.
The law's not for you. Let's stop kidding ourselves. And, your dreams and, shall we say, talents lie elsewhere. Well, we don't know, but we hope they do.
It's been a great run. Why spoil it by continuing it past this expiration date?
So true. So you'll remember this fondly. All right. Gerard Butler, Machine Gun Preacher, which opens on September 30th, I think it says here. Is that right? 23rd or 30th?
Release and then all over the country and all that good stuff.
I'm telling you, Oscar.
Go see this movie. It's a very, very strong film.
You don't want to say it, but this is the kind of film that gets a lot of attention along those lines. I mean, I think you're going to be busy during award season. That's all I'm saying. Don't book a lot of stuff for those nights. Gerard Butler, thanks so much for being with us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, guys.